How are we doing, folks? Welcome to another episode of Yogi Dave's Hobby Podcast. This is podcast number 6, so we're about a month and a bit in. If you're new to the podcast, this podcast is about gaming, so tabletop gaming specifically, board games, RPGs, and wargaming. So I might at some point have somebody on about tabletop card gaming, but and maybe even somebody in about board and computer gaming, but at the moment it's just the stuff that I do. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about board gaming. The last couple of episodes have been kind of tight, where they've had an overarching theme. So obviously the last one was Napoleonics, previous one was RPGs, and today is going to be board games. I'll probably talk about other stuff as well, but you know. So I originally started board gaming, like the miniature board gaming and the non-mainstream board gaming when I was about 5, and my dad introduced me to Blood Bowl. But properly I started when I got Hero Quest. And my older brother got Space Crusade. Now, my copy of Hero Quest still survives to this day. It's actually at my parents', whereas my older brother's version of Space Crusade has been, divvied up and pretty much is in bits and different armies across mine and my younger brother's collections, I believe. But obviously, my early introduction to, miniature board gaming was Games Workshop based, and that continued for a while. Obviously, Advanced Hero Quest and Battle Masters, and I had Doom of the Elder, the wargame series that they released in the noughties, I think. It's either early noughties, late 2000s, or not early noughties, late 90s even. That was like a traditional counter board game. Very much. I actually haven't played it in a while. It's still sitting in my parents' house. I could actually get it and play it at some point, but it's like I can't remember which Hive Fleet it was for the Tynanids attacking one of the craft worlds. Again, which craft world it was, I can't remember. That was good fun. My younger brother and older brother didn't seem to like it. I'm not sure my dad liked it. My dad's a big Eldar fan. My younger brother's a Tynanid. My dad's an Eldar player and my younger brother's a Tynanid player. And I don't think either of them actually liked it very much, but I quite enjoyed it. In my teens, my late teens and my early 20s, and actually in my my late 20s and in my early 30s, I wasn't really a big board gamer. It's only in the last 4 or so years I've started getting back into board games. So that was thanks to Kickstarter. The first Kickstarter I got, first Kickstarter I hanged was Conan. The first Kickstarter I actually got was Zombicide Black Plague, and then I got Conan, and then I got Massive Darkness. Now these are all miniature board games. There are many different types of board games, but obviously my major board gaming, as it comes to hobby board gaming more than mainstream board gaming, was very much a miniature board gaming experience, mostly because I'm a miniature wargamer. When I do RPGs, mostly we use miniatures, so it's not, that's not a huge, change of how I do things, how I play games. Whereas more recently, there's been more of a move towards what you would think more of a board game, the likes of Pandemic, and Munchkin and Suro and Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert and stuff like that. A lot of it cooperative, because I quite enjoy the cooperative side of games. That's why I've enjoyed Hero Quest, why I enjoyed... Well, actually, Space Crusade was more adversarial than cooperative. Hero Quest was more cooperative. Obviously, you've all, in those games you have a mission that you've got to fulfill, but I'm pretty sure, each Space Marine chapter was... didn't fight each other, but they were, they were running against the clock with each other to complete this mission. Obviously, Massive Darkness and Conan and Zombicide are very, very cooperative, because if you don't cooperate, then you're all going to die, essentially, or the mission's not going to succeed, or the adventure, whatever it is. But also there have been a few non-cooperative games, the likes of Catan. Also, I know, strictly speaking, Starflux and Tiny Epic Galaxies aren't board games, but when I talk about board gaming, I talk about these kinds of games, because when I've watched Tabletop, the TV show, I've associated them all as board games, even if they're not truly board games. They're dice games, or they're card games or stuff like that. To me, it's a board game. It's not a card game. It's like, I suppose Battle Masters isn't really a board game. It's more of a war game, because even though it's it's hex maps, same as BattleTech, for me isn't really a board game. It's a war game, even though it's got hex maps. I see like the difference. Whereas when I talk about Starflux, I talk about Tiny Epic Galaxies, I talk about Code Words, I talk about Cards Against Humanity. I put these all in as board games, because that's the way I think of them. I know other people won't think of them that way. Obviously, Tiny Epic Galaxies is kind of a board game, but it's also a card game. It's kind of a mix. It's kind of a resource building game. Starflux is the card game to many people. So is Cards Against Humanity. So is Code Words. But when I look at it, I think, well, you play them on a board. Don't play them on a battlefield. You're not like card gaming as such. You aren't doing. When I think of card games, I think of your Magic the Gathering. I think Star Realms. I think Keyforge, that kind of thing. Collectible card games, or not. I know Keyforge and Star Realms aren't really collectible card games. They're more deck building games. That's how I think. A game that's more of a deck building game to me is a card game. It's not. It's not like Code Words. It's not like Cards Against Humanity. You're not deck building when you're playing Starflux. That's what I think in my brain. Obviously, my brain's a bit of a weird place to live, but that is what I feel different about them. And that's why I lump them into the board game kind of category. That's the word I was looking for. I was like, my brain. You will get used to my brain kind of having brain fart moments and stop working for a little bit. So essentially, obviously, and I know they're not really board games, but that's how I see them. So obviously, with board games, there's different types of board games. There's even set categories. So obviously you've got chess variants, you've cooperative games, you've got deduction games, economic simulation games like Monopoly. You've got German style board games like Catan and Carcassonne. I think that's how you say it. You've got hidden role games like The Resistance. You've got multiplayer games like Risk and Monopoly, pencil games like tic-tac-toe or dots and boxes and stuff like that. Obviously, tile-based games. Like Carcassonne is a tile-based game, but it's like a German-style board game at the same time. You've got many, many different types of board gaming. But it all depends on the type of way you want to play a game. Depends on what game you're going to enjoy. Obviously, you get resource games, like the games that you need to build up resources to. It's obviously Catan's that kind of game, but there's other different variants of that type of game. You build up resources in order to build this, get that, and help you win the game. Obviously, there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of board games out there. So when you're first starting out getting board games, it's maybe a wee bit daunting. You go into your local game shop, your friendly local game shop. Hopefully it's friendly anyway. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. And there's hundreds of games there. I know I walk into Static Games in Glasgow, and there's a whole wall that's as long, if not longer, than my living room and my kitchen combined. Which, granted, they aren't that big, but it's probably actually twice the size of my living room. My living room's about 12 foot wide, or 12 foot long. So it's probably at least 24 foot long. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but not by much. And I'm pretty sure there are more board games in other parts of the shop. So it can be a bit daunting when you go into that shop and there's all these games and you're like, oh, where do I start from here? The best thing I did when I was thinking about getting into board games was watching Tabletop. It's also the worst thing that I ever did, because frankly I want to spend way too much money. I've got a list on Amazon of stuff, like a wish list of stuff. Not that I'm going to buy it all off Amazon. In fact, I will do my best to buy none of it off Amazon, because I hate Amazon with a bloody passion. But it's a good place to have that list. I buy as little as I can off Amazon. I used to work for them, so I have good reason. But we'll not get into that. What I found was, and this is for everything gaming wise, going on the internet, going on to YouTube, even if you go on to Twitch. I know there's a lot of stuff you need to subscribe to be able to see it, but going on to Twitch, going on to YouTube, looking at board games, looking at anything you want to get into, looking for that particular game and going, right, okay, so they've got this, and I can maybe look at this and see how the game's played, and that, that's important. I mean, that's probably why every type of game has seen a massive upsurge in play, because of stuff like Tabletop, but also everything that comes off YouTube to come with gaming, as long as it's positive. All the negative stuff is no fun. Don't want to see it. see it all the time. It's like, oh, reviews of this and that, and the next thing, it's like, Jesus, man, really? If you want to be like that, be like that. But you know, I'm honestly going to tell you this, right? If somebody sent me a review, or stuff to review, or a game to review, or something like that, and I didn't like it, I am very unlikely that I'm actually going to put a review up. I'm just going to send it back to them because I don't want to be that person. I'm honest, like if you really want me to put a review up, I will put a review up, but it's not going to be a good one. I played games where I honestly didn't enjoy them, but I'm not going to tell you which ones it is because that's up to you. It's not up to me. Everyone's personal preference is different, and you know, there's no point in me telling you, yeah, it's great, no, it's not, or you know, if it's badly worded, or I didn't enjoy it. That's the thing. If I didn't enjoy it, I didn't enjoy it. And my reasons for not enjoying it are not going to be the same as other people's reasons for not enjoying it. But if a product is truly bad, I'm going to tell you about it. If somebody's like, oh no, I want you to review it, fine, okay. But I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that review. But that's beside the point entirely. I'm getting off on one again. But yeah, tabletop's a really good one to start out with, because obviously you can get it all on YouTube. So you just type in tabletop while eating, brings it all up. I think it's even in a handy list from episode 1 to the last episode. I can't remember the last episode number, but you know, you watch it and you're like, right, okay, interesting. And you watch every episode and you decide, right, I want to play that, 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 don't want to play that, don't want to play that. I don't think that's kind of my thing, or I don't think that'll be interesting. Star Realms for sake of talking, not anything that I'm interested in, because it's a deck building game. I don't enjoy deck building games. I've tried. There was one that came with a game that I played, like a computer game. I didn't enjoy it. It was like 3 or 4 packs of this like particular game. Obviously, it was linked to the computer game, but I mean, I enjoyed the computer game. I remember enjoying it not very much, but I don't remember ever enjoying the deck building game. I didn't enjoy Magic the Gathering. I know loads of people love Magic the Gathering, but I didn't. And I know these days, in order to get good at Magic the Gathering, you have to, or be good at Magic the Gathering, you have to have all the cool stuff, and be really good at deck building and all this, that kind of stuff, and it doesn't interest me in the slightest. Also, like Keyforge, my younger brother and one of my pals, you know, at the club, or a number of people I know play Keyforge, but to be honest with you, I'd try it, but I'm not really sure if I'll enjoy it. I mean, I know Keyforge is very different, that every single deck that you buy is that deck, every card in that deck is that deck. You can't, you know, just go out and add more cards to it and take away the crap cards and all this, that kind of stuff. That is your deck. If you're going to use that deck, that is what you use. That's fair enough. That's a completely different side to thing. That's finding a good deck, but also that's spending a lot of money to find the good decks, or find decks that are reasonable, that are going to be good against a lot of other decks. But you know, my wee brother enjoys it. You know, that's cool. My mate enjoys it. The other people that I know that have played it enjoy it. It's just not my thing. I know I play Starflux. I've done a unboxing, and I'm going to do a playthrough at some point, but it's just not my thing. And yeah, I will probably try it at some point, but I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy it. But I'm not going in with preconceived notions of I'm not going to like it. I'm going with I might like it, might not, but you know, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, going into watching stuff on YouTube. It's good. Having people that you know that have board games. I mean, one of the guys in the Falkirk Club, Alistair, he's got quite a number of board games. We played them. So has Xander and Sam, another two guys that play. There's loads of guys that play different board games at the club as well. If I wanted to sit in and try one out, I could. That's a really good way to find out what you like, is have actual experience of playing games. Now, I know it's not easy for everyone. I know not everyone can get to a club or a shop or whatever to play games that often, but if you can do it, it's more important that if you're going to pick up some games that you want to play, you have a little bit of experience of playing that kind of game, even if it's not that exact game. So playing a miniature board game that's quite similar to the one that you might want to buy, because miniature board games are quite expensive. I mean, I think Conan is £80 or something like that. Recommended retail price, I can't remember off the top of my head. But Zombicide and Massive Darkness aren't cheap, because they've got a lot of miniatures in them. I know the expansions aren't cheap. I got mine for very, very cheap because I got the Kickstarters, but even then they weren't that cheap. You know what I mean? I did the same for Walking Dead. I got a lot of stuff, but still wasn't cheap. So you've got to weigh in what you're going to be paying to buy this board game. Because even non-miniature board games are quite expensive too for what you get in them. For what you're getting. I think Elder Sign was £35 or £40. It wasn't cheap. You're not looking at a cheap hobby. That's the thing about all gaming, whether it be board games, whether it be war games, whether it be RPGs. It is not a cheap hobby. You've got to get that into your head. You're not going to go in and get loads of cheap stuff. I mean, you might get it off eBay, but I doubt it. Even at its cheapest, the cheapest squad of Space Marines I've ever bought was a tenner on eBay, and that's still £1 a figure. That's still not cheap, really. It's cheap for Games Workshop figures, but it's not cheap, especially when you get stripped them and repaid them. But I'm getting away from things there. So do your research. See if you can try out the games that you want to buy, or go to a club and maybe find players that play board games and play games with them. So maybe you don't have to go out and buy those board games because they've got them. Maybe you might want to eventually get some yourself, so you can host people at your house and play the games there. That's entirely up to you. And but before you're going to put out some money, do your investigating. Figure out if you're going to enjoy that game. I was going to say job there. Figure out if you're going to enjoy that game. Figure out if it's something that you're going to play a lot, because there might be a bit of an investment. There might be a bit of money that, if you're not playing it a lot, it's going to feel like, oh, I've spent all this money, I'm not getting to play it. Believe me, I've been there. And board gaming and wargaming and everything. I do. It's like, I've spent all this money, I don't get to use it. I'm really not happy about it. And that makes you want to not play. Makes you want to not do what you should be doing. You should be playing, you should be enjoying yourself when you're gaming. But I think for board gaming, and me talking about it right now, that's a bit enough. I know I was talking about doing, like, this is a themed episode, but I decided that I'm not going to do that. I think interspersing the themed episodes with, other kinds of episodes is more important than, I know having a kind of coherent message and that kind of thing is kind of important sometimes, but this is gaming, it's not about the coherent message. So I'm thinking about doing Deathwing, the Fantasy Flight RPG, for my next DMing at the Falkirk Club. Now I'm thinking about it because I like the idea of having that small group, because it's only going to be five of the players. It's either that or was the Chaos version of it, whatever the name of that one is. I can never forget that one. It's either Horus Heresy or something like that. But it'll be in the 40k universe, and obviously me having been a 40k player since Rogue Trader, I've seen many incarnations and many changes. Deathwatch wasn't even a bloody thing when I started playing. Deathwatch wasn't even a thing when, I don't think it wasn't until midway through 2nd edition, or it was even 3rd edition Deathwing appeared. I can't remember. But Deathwatch. I keep on saying Deathwing rather than Deathwatch. I don't know why. It's like Deathwing or Dark Angels, and I hate the Dark Angels. I hate is a strong word, but I dislike the Dark Angels because they're heretics and traitors and scum and that kind of thing. That's me, the Space Wolf player, talking. But I want that small group. I don't want, our Dark Heresy group was like 10 strong, and everyone was a specialist in something, so there was no deficiencies in the group. Which I think is important in an RPG team or group, whatever you're doing, because you don't have that particular, specialists in, maybe healing or magic or whatever it is in the group, and you're like, well, what the hell are we going to do with this? How are we going to deal with this? And that, I think, comes down to, the GM as much as it comes down to the players. It's the GM putting them in situations where, there's a solution. It might not be the most obvious solution, but there is a solution there. You can't. This is the thing what drives me crazy about some DMs. It's or GMs, whatever particular set of rules that you're using, and that they go out of their way to put the players in a position where they could die, and there's very little chance of them surviving. You have to give them a 50-50 chance of surviving, or put them in. Stop putting them in positions of absolute peril. I mean, obviously, if obviously they've stumbled upon some uber being, and they want to fight them, you have to knock them out, and make sure they don't die. The only way you let them die is if it's by their own stupidity, or the hellish dice rolls that can happen during a game. There should always be peril, but it shouldn't be you constantly putting them in peril. I think that's a very, very bad way to GM. And I know, I'm saying it's a bad way to GM. Everyone's allowed to do their own thing, their own way. But I think it's better for the players. I think it's better for the players to know that there's some healthy peril that their characters can be in. I mean, I'll be honest with you, in Dark Heresy, I failed to get very many insanity points and very little corruption. I don't think I had any corruption actually, come to think of it. Even though, we played the campaign over a year and a bit, and were exposed to shitloads of chaos, I still never picked up in very many insanity points. I didn't pick up enough insanity points to get me to the first insanity threshold. I definitely didn't pick up enough corruption points for that either. But, you know, if I had picked up corruption points, obviously it would have, since I was playing in Adeptus Arbeit and he was very much a servant of the Emperor, he would have had to purify himself and all the rest of that kind of stuff, because, you know, if you know the 40k universe at all, you know Adeptus Arbeites and people like them are very, 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 very devoted to the Emperor and the Imperial Creed and the Imperial cause. So, you know, that would have been an interesting side to what would happen, but obviously because, you know, there were so many of us and so many things happened, and there was very little danger in him getting corrupted, because there was other people to corrupt in front of him or get insanity. My insanity rolls were actually pretty decent. I know it was weird because my dice rolling most times is not that great, but sometimes it's fucking amazing. You know, that would have been interesting. How would he purify himself? How would he get rid of the corruption? How would he do this? How would he do that? But that never came up, which I think was a major factor, and that was the size of the group. But I would really like to DM or GM. I can never get my head around the difference. I know Games Master, Dungeon Master, and Dungeon Master's like a trademark from, you know, Wizard of the Coast, TSR, whatever. But I use it as a really interchangeably. You know, I really want to GM a game where, you know, there is that peril. You know, they're Space Marines, for God's sake. The only reason that they get put in a position like that is, in any position, the only time they fight at all is when the Imperial Guard are not up to it. You know, the rest of the Imperium, you know, the fighting arms of the Imperium are not up to the job that needs done. And especially with the Death Watch being the chamber militant of the Ordo Xenos, obviously it's going to be something really, really, really fucked up that's happened. That, well, not that anything that the Imperium does at all is fucked up. It isn't fucked up, but you know, obviously the situation would be at its direst, that, or most dire, however you want to do it, that an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor has called in the Death Watch, or a kill team of the Death Watch is no small matter to call them in. So any situation that they're going to be involved, there should be an incredible amount of peril that they have to deal with. The Death Watch kill team box set was, I can't remember the size of the kill team, but it wasn't more than 10 models against, you know, a shed load of Gene Stealer cultists. So, you know, think about it. The Death Watch, they've been called in to deal with a situation that really is quite dangerous. I think there should always be that, you know, peril that they could be in, but also at the same time there's ways out of it. You know, if it's a situation that none of them are really trained in, you should have a way of getting them out of that situation. They have to think about it, they have to role play it, they have to, you know, they have to grasp that themselves. But you push them in that direction, and if they don't go in that direction, well, they're fucked, and there's nothing you can do about it. But, you know, try and make sure that in the first couple of games you don't get them killed, because I have been in groups where, you know, it is the games masters overriding, you know, wanting life to kill off all of the characters. It's crazy. You know, you're the guy that's meant to make sure everyone else is having fun. You know, everyone's having fun. You're meant to have fun too, but you're meant to have control, but also have a sense of, right, this character is like this, so this will be good for them, or all the characters have a deficiency here, so you know, maybe we can look at this and see if they can do it this way. If they can't, then you know, we obviously have to go down this road, you know. But you've got to make sure that it's fun. You can't, and I can't say it more than I bloody hate it when I read stuff and it's like, I killed off X character today, you know, it was great. You know, it's like, nope. That's not good. You just, it makes people not want to play a game. That's what I think, honestly. I try not to kill people off, if I possibly can. I might make it look like I'm trying to kill them off at times, but I'm not. So essentially, I've given myself about a year, I think, to put together an idea for either doing a Deathwatch campaign or doing the Chaos campaign. I know the Chaos campaign is a little bit different. The Chaos set of rules. It's not a Chaos campaign. It's not like if you're doing, you know, Dungeons and Dragons and you're doing an evil campaign, or you're doing a neutral campaign where everyone's neutral, everyone's evil. It's a different set of rules. You know, you've got several different sets of rules in the 40k RPG line, and the Chaos one is an entirely separate rulebook. You know, it's got its own scenarios and what have you, I believe. I haven't actually looked into it that much, but you know, it is a separate set of rules. You know, Deathwatch is a separate rules, Rogue Traders is a separate rules, Dark Heresy, Holy War. You know, these are all their own set of rules. But it's also, what I'm looking at is looking at a set of rules which everyone has played before, or mostly everyone has played before. So it's not going to be a big massive, right, you know, this is a entirely new system for you to get a grasp of. Now, obviously, right now we've been doing a lot of D20 set of rules, so Star Trek, and now we're doing Mutant Chronicles and Infinity. I couldn't even remember the game that I was playing there. But, you know, obviously we're using that system right now. But I think it's a bit of a palate cleanser. After about a year, and it'll be about a 2 year between one set of rules and the other, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until this round, like the Infinity Mutant Chronicles round is done, and then run this campaign. So it's a bit of a palate cleanser, because everyone's going to have been doing 2D20 games, and it'll be nice to get out of that particular vein of gaming. Though I also want to run this is the thing, I want to run from my house, or maybe from my house, Star Trek, and have it a continuous thing. I don't want it to be just like, we'll do this one campaign and then once it's done we'll maybe go back to those characters. I want it to continue on and from the house. Still have the same DM, GM Alistair, come in and, you know, continue that crew for the players that are in it just now, because I think that's something we haven't really done. We haven't really gone back to old characters or continued on after that particular set of adventures has gone on, and I think it'd be interesting to keep it going. But obviously right now I'm working on the Deathwatch. I'm also looking at doing, there's actually one of the people I follow on Twitter, Misty Vander is her name. No, it's at Misty Vander on Twitter. She is doing a long-term 5th edition campaign. She's wanting to set one up, and crying the Dragonlance world. Obviously, if you've read the Dragonlance Chronicles, the War of the Lance, which is the War of the Lance, and the War of Souls and all the rest of that kind of stuff, you'll know the setting quite well, and I love that. I love the setting. Misty Vander is hard of hearing or deaf, so I'm not sure whether she's hard of hearing or deaf, which is shocking because I follow her on Twitter, but she obviously has problems with what helps a lot of the community now, gaming community now, being able to connect with people online, because obviously she can't hear, so she can't use video chat or anything like that in order to do campaigns. So she's doing old style, play by post. That's what she wants to do, or she's trying to do. What I think she would really love to do is to be able to do like face-to-face stuff, obviously, because but with a deaf gaming community or a hard of hearing community, which I think is absolutely amazing. I think that would be an absolutely amazing thing to do. So follow at Misty Vander. So it's at capital M YSTY capital VANDER. Obviously, I would love to have somebody like that on the podcast. Because this is a person who isn't letting. She calls it a disability, so I'm going to call it a disability. Get in the way of her gaming. She's not letting it do it. She's not letting it happen. She's doing her thing, and she wants to continue to do her thing, and that's awesome. If any of you know, I have dyspraxia, which a lot of people don't term as a disability, but to be honest with you, it's a learning disorder. People think it's only a childhood learning disorder. I have had issues with it from day one of school, pretty much. I have terrible handwriting. I walk into doors. I get injured quite often because of it. I have terrible coordination, which, for somebody who used to do kickboxing and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, it's like, what, really? Yes, I did. I still do. It's something that I continue to deal with. It's not something that is obvious, and it's not something that stops me from doing things, but at the same time it has given me long-term anxiety issues, depression issues, lots and lots and lots of things that I am more susceptible to anxiety and depression and lots of other things because of it. It gives me problems at work because obviously my short-term memory is atrocious. There's various things that it hinders me, but I don't let it do it. Or it would hinder me, but I don't let it do it. Sometimes I do let it do it. I've had bouts of depression of recent because obviously I'm unemployed at the moment. But gaming helps me. I don't put it on other people that alright, we need to game because I need to not feel sad or not feel depressed or not have this or that or the next thing. I use it to help me, but I don't put it on other people that it's my way of dealing with this, it's my way of dealing with that. But it's good for when I see somebody who let's be honest, has a much more serious issue than I do, because she can't hear, or she has hard hearing. She's not letting it get in her way. She's not letting it get in her way of her gaming, or what she wants to do, or what she needs to do. So, I think that's a really good thing. And I'll talk about people that I've met on Twitter all the time, that are real cool. If you go, my Twitter handle is something ridiculous, so I can't. It's at David MU 501533952. I will not repeat it. You can find the link to my Twitter on the website, or the podcast site. But there's loads of people on my Twitter that I follow. I follow 646 people at this present moment in time. And I follow them for good reasons. Well, most of them. One of them was just like a list of people that somebody added me to, and I thought, well, there's people on here that I know or I'm following already, so I'll follow the whole list, because that's the kind of crazy person I am. It's like, well, if there's loads of gaming here, then that'll be cool. Loads of people that are involved in gaming. That kind of is like, yeah. The more gaming in my feed, the better, and the more varied, the better as well. A lot of it is Games Workshop related, but but there's computer games and all D&D and loads of different role playing games. So I always like to have that kind of variant gaming stuff, because I can't get enough gaming related stuff at all. What next was I been talking about? Oh yeah, something that come up with me recently is my phone being in my hand all the time. It is important if you are podcasting, you are doing YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff, that you have a social media presence, that you're always keeping on top of it. But what I have discovered is my phone is constantly in my hand. I mean, constantly. In the last month or so, 2 months, probably longer. But this is to do with the depression and the insularness that sometimes I get into when I'm in the position that I'm in. I have been unemployed before, so I do kind of have a pattern that I need to break. But I get very insular, and I do, go online and all the rest of that kind of stuff, and try and put myself in positions where I don't need to talk to people, or don't need to deal with people, unless obviously I'm gaming. I'm going to say this, crazy as it may sound, because it's been pointed out to me now. I need to talk about it. I'm not going to say pointed out, but it was a position that I didn't really like feeling I was in, and didn't like what I was doing to the relationship with the person. So I spent 4 hours maybe yesterday without my phone in my hand. I put it on charge, put it on another room, and didn't have it on me. That is important. Spend some time without your damn phone. Spend your time talking to people. Talk to people about your issues. Don't not talk to the people that are most important in your life, because if you do, you might lose them. They might stop talking to you, and that's never good. If anything, this particular situation has taught me that when that person is around, I need to spend less time on the phone. So, as I said, 4 hours no phone yesterday, which was quite an achievement, because normally it's in my pocket or in my hand 90% of the time. So, yeah. Try not to be that person. I honestly did not get a smartphone until about 5 years ago, because I didn't want to become that person. And I could see myself becoming that person, because you can get quite addicted to it. I have had my phone in my hand about 24 times while I've been talking on this podcast, because I've been checking Twitter, I've been checking Instagram, I've been checking Facebook, you know. I swore to myself when I got a smartphone that I would never become the person that I'm starting to become. So, the person that was telling me this, obviously they've told me a number of times that, you spend a lot of time on your phone, when you're about, you're not that, engaged and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And I don't mean to be, I honestly don't. It's just I have become that person, and I need to get myself out of that habit. So what I've decided is maybe once a week I'm going to have a day where what people can get in contact with me, but I will not be engaging with my Twitter and my Facebook and my Instagram and all the rest of that kind of stuff. I will very rarely have my phone in my hand. It'll be only when somebody needs to phone me and get in contact with me that I will have it. But make that clear to people. Also, see if you're doing what I'm doing. Make it clear, right, today if you need to get hold of me, you can. If you want to send me something, want to talk to me about something, wait till tomorrow. Or wait till the next day. Because, you don't want to lose that contact with people. But I would encourage it to anyone. Just stop it. Put it in another room where you can hear the text messages going off or the phone going off. That I think has been really important for me to kind of go, right, okay, fair enough. And when you're in company, switch the damn thing off if you can, or switch it to silent. Don't look at it. Do your best not to put your hands in your pockets and go, right, I need to look at my phone. Which is what I'm going to actively try and do. I know this is a gaming podcast, but I think a lot of us in the gaming community probably are like that. Probably do that kind of thing. So that's my sermon for the day, I think. What else I was going to talk about is your pile of shame. Now, I know a lot of people call it a pile of shame. That's why I use the term. It's the pile of unpainted figures you may have. My idea for the next couple of years is to paint as much of my unpainted stuff as I possibly can. And I have a plan, and I think that is an important thing to do. Once you get yourself to the point where, right, I've got so much stuff to paint, I don't really need anything else, but I want all of this stuff. It isn't a need. This is the thing. You do not ever need to have the figures. You want to have the figures. It's as much an addiction as anything for many of us. But what you need to get your mind, this is the mindset I've got myself into. If I want anything new, I have to paint a lot of figures before I can buy it. I'm painting an entire Napoleonic army because I need to get it finished before my birthday, because I want to get Infinity figures. And I want, it's not a need, I want an Infinity army because I enjoy the game and I enjoy the RPG, or I've enjoyed it thus far, learning about it. So I want an army. I need to paint another army. I need to paint a big army in order to get what I want. That is important. Have a plan. If you're just starting out, don't overbuy. I cannot say this enough. I've said it a number of times. Do not overbuy. Have a plan when you're going in to buy your army. Right, this is 2,500 points. Say it's 40k. So this is 2,500 points. I might want to have another 1,000 points leeway of things to have a bit of balance or bit of variance. So I can buy that right now, but buy it and paint it before you buy anything else. Buy it and paint it before you build it. But it's a simple thing to say, I know, but buy it, build it, paint it. then go out, buy more, build it, paint it. Go out, buy more, buy it, build it, paint it. That's the easiest plan to have, is buy, build, paint. Then buy, build, paint. That's the smart way to go about it. If you're in the same position as me, where you have lots of stuff that has started painting, or lots of stuff that still needs painted, have a plan. Have a, right, I am going to paint this, and then I'm going to paint this, and then I'm going to paint this. I have a year planned, and I'll go into it, paint my Napoleonics, finish painting my Massive Darkness, paint some Conan stuff, not all of it, because there's quite a bit of it. At least the Massive Darkness stuff is mostly started. You know, there's base coats on pretty much. There's base coats on parts of everything. Skin's pretty much done on most of the stuff on that. So, you know, paint some more Conan stuff. Paint some Space Wolves. Repaint some Space Wolves. Finish off my Necromunda stuff. My Necromunda Goliath. What else? Second half of the year. There is a list somewhere. I've got it written down. Finish off Zombicide Black Plague. That is mostly started. But, you know, a lot of it is finish off, or strip and repaint, or do this, do that. None of it is really go out and buy a new army and paint it. But the Infinity thing is, it will be painted as I buy it. Because what I'll have is, I'll have the other projects at the side of that. The end of this year, obviously the Conquest subscription I think ends in December. It might be January next year, but obviously I've already started painting Summit to do tutorials and what have you, but the rest of it's getting put in a box and will get painted when it's time to paint it, basically. Because I obviously am painting the vast majority of the Space Marine army. Obviously I keep on calling Captain, Lieutenant Calcius is getting raffled off soon, which I will talk about in a bit. You've got, you know, that whole Space Marine army to get painted, and it'll need to get painted and then raffled off. That's all the stuff that's getting painted and raffled off is in there. It's not personal painting, whereas, you know, all this stuff that I'm talking about is personal painting. It's not including commissions, and I know there's every chance that I don't get all of this done, but it's been a plan. I'm going to get as much of it done as I can. I'm going to work as much as I can on it. Obviously, new job, if I get a new job, when I get a new job, no if I get a new job, when I get a new job, that time's going to get cut down, because obviously I've got to spend time with Fiona and Zach and everyone else, and get my gaming in and all this, that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm going to be limited by the amount of time I get to paint. But right now it's quite limited as well, so, you know, got to look at the situations that we're all in and have plans. Don't just buy shitloads of stuff and not paint it. Buy shitloads of stuff, put it in a cupboard when you're not playing with it. I think it's important. I think a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, I don't play against unpainted." It's like, well, you're not going to get a game with me then. There's loads of my shit's unpainted. But yeah, try your best when you're starting out to not be in the position that I'm in and lots of other people are in. But if you are in that position, make a plan and stick to it as best you can. Right? So, as I was talking there about the Lieutenant Calcius, at this moment in time, I'm not sure. I think we've still got a week left for the raffle. I'm recording this in the past. So it should be the should be the 11th of February that this has been released. So should still have about a week left in the Celsius raffle. If not, it'll be US. Well, no, yeah, Napoleonics. It'll be the Napoleonics. They might actually be finished by now. Depends on how much time I actually get to paint them. But it'll be either Captain Celsius or Lieutenant Celsius, or the Napoleonic little diorama that I'm putting together. So how you enter is you go to, the link is on my website, my yogidaveshobby.podium.co. It's the link to my coffee account. Buy me coffee, leave your email, I will enter you into the raffle. Simple as that. Absolutely the simplest thing you could possibly do. £3 buys you me a coffee, puts it into the fund, and you get entered into the raffle. Whatever raffle it is, you get entered into it. Simple as that. If you would like to support me anyway without getting entered in the raffle, coffee account, or email me at Yogi Dave's Hobby Corner at gmail.com, and I can give you a PayPal account if you want to just, support me without having part of the raffle, or email me at davidgmuir@yahoo.co.uk for details about commissions. That's my professional account. That's not my podcast or my YouTube account. So it's not really a professional account, it's my personal account, but it's the one I take commissions on. If you enjoy this podcast, share it with your friends, make a comment, like it on whatever your medium you're watching it, listening to it, whatever. Also, I have a YouTube channel, if you don't already know. It's Yogi Dave's Hobby Corner. I have unboxings, I have games being played, I have intros to games, loads of different stuff that is game related. So check that out, and like, share, subscribe if you enjoy on that too. And that's me for the day. I'm going to say good day, happy hobby.